Anteriormente, en los tres de West Memphis.
Honor, I am innocent of these charges, but I'm entering an Alfred guilty plea today based on the advice of my counsel and my understanding that it's in my best interest to do so given the entire record.
Forever trusting who we are, and nothing else matters. Never opened myself this way. Life is ours, we live it our way. Hold these words I don't just say, and nothing else matters.
Where were these found, guys?
Trust I seek and I find
Raven on the left side there, Raven on the right.
every day.
We're going on.
Something new. Open mind for a different view.
According to the published report, Misskelley told police he watched 18-year-old Damien Echols and 16-year-old Jason Baldwin brutalize the children with a club and a knife. The report says Misskelley told police Echols and Baldwin raped one of the boys and sexually mutilated another as part of a cult ritual.
So close, no matter how far. It couldn't be much more from apart. Forever trusting who we are.
I had proof that Jason was in school and that it was a law. That didn't matter to Gitchell.
Never cared for what they do. Never cared for what they know. But I know.
At a press conference, Inspector Gary Gitchell said the case against the accused teens is very strong.
Scale of 1 to 10, how solid do you think your case is?
11.
Those techniques are used to evoke a response.
You and Inspector Gitchell did these things to invoke a response.
Yes, sir.
Invoke confession.
Invoke a response, keep him talking.
Life is ours, we live it our way. Hold these words I don't just say, and nothing else matters. Trust I seek and I find in you. Every day for us something new. Open mind for a different.
I just don't understand if he was in fact involved in this crime, how he made a mistake on the time factor.
Never cared for what they say. Never cared for games they play. Never cared for what they do. Never cared for what they know.
At that time, was the defendant a suspect?
No, sir.
If he was not a suspect, why were you assigned to contact him?
He was a friend with friends with Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin.
Program is designed to help law enforcement officers better understand satanic cults.
In the neighborhood, rumors begin.
Well, I've heard things before about cults, and I really didn't believe it, but some of the kids in the neighborhood I've talked to said there is, and they've found some animals back there. When they play back there, it looks like they've been cut up.
He
had told us that he had attended some satanic cult type meetings, that boys along with girls would attend. There would be sessions of sex, orgies as he called them, that dogs and animals had been killed, and in fact those animals, portions of them, have been eaten by the members.
The statement Jessie gave to the police is a lie. It's not true. I don't see why he would do something like that to another person. I can see where they might think I was in a cult because I wear Metallica t-shirts and stuff like that, but I'm not in nothing like that. I couldn't kill an animal or a person. I don't worship the devil or anything like that. I worship God, you know, like every normal person is around here does.
Joni Dwyer lives next door to Jason Baldwin. Her 3 boys often played with Jason, but that all changed after her husband found some drawings Jason had done.
My husband just didn't like what he saw in them drawings. He said, you know, he told my son this is devil worshiping. You know, he had snakes and the sayings they had, some of them were in Latin and stuff.
Jason and I would talk about leaving that place, moving out of that place, but we were so young that it never was a definite plan. It was always just, we've got to get the hell out of here. The thing that Jason always loved was art, you know, painting, drawing, things like that. He would do these paintings that were absolutely incredible when he had art class in school, and the art teacher would refuse to grade them because she would say, that's not what I told you to paint, that's not what I told you to draw. I don't want to see one more skull. She would say, you know, you were assigned to do a still life of flowers. And Jason was like, fuck that, I'm not doing that, it's not what I want to do.
It appears satanic worship may have played a role in the murders. Since the very beginning of the investigation, people all around West Memphis have come forward with stories of satanic cults.
Reverend Tommy Stacy's church is down the street from where the bodies were found. 1 year ago, Damien Echols told the church's youth minister he had a pact with the devil and he was going to hell.
I do know that my youth director talked to Damien extensively after revival that we had, and he told him that he could not be saved, that he could not give his heart to Jesus. And my youth director then tried to get him to take a Bible, and he made the statement that he could not take a Bible because if he did, the rest of them would get him.
In West Memphis, Jenna Newton, KIT 8 Night News.
They found my son's testicles in a jar of alcohol in Damien Echols' house with his fingerprints on the jar. Now, how do you dispute that?
Some idiot started a rumor saying that they found children's sexual parts under my bed or in my house, and there was no body parts in my house. Or it's just, I think maybe the police had something to do with it, just because however, if they can make us look bad in front of the public, then people are going to kind of have their minds made up before anything ever comes out.
The state has the burden of proof in this case, and inasmuch as for a good portion of the case is circumstantial, it is necessary and appropriate that the state prove motive if they can. Call your next witness.
Call Dale Griffiths. In looking at young people involved in the occult, do you see any particular type of dress?
I have personally observed people wearing black fingernails, having their hair painted black, wearing black t-shirts.
There's a number 3 victims have any significance?
One of the most powerful numbers in the practice of satanic belief is 666, and some believe the base root of 6 is 3.
We're not trash, by no means. My son was born in West Memphis. He was raised in West Memphis. And for the life of me, I cannot understand why people has got this bad image of it. So what if he wore a black trench coat? He's not the only one that does. You know, so what if he wore black t-shirts, black pants? Johnny Cash wears black, doesn't he?
Do you have an opinion as to whether or not there are occult overtones or evidence of occult involvement in these particular murders?
Well, the date being close to Beltane, a holiday, May 1st. Also, the day before that is Walpurgisnacht. Then you go into the fact that some groups, occult cult groups, will use a full moon. In several occult books, they will talk about the life force of the blood. Usually the younger the individual, the more pure it is, the more power or the force it has. A lot of times they will take blood and store it for other services and other use, as well as consume it or bathe in it.
Now, the item that's drawn on the front, what is that?
That is a pentagram. That happens to be a Wiccan or white witchcraft pentagram.
All right. Now, if you would open and look to the front page.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, explain what that is.
That's confusion to me.
All right.
And the reason why we got a white witchcraft Wiccan pentagram, then we have upside down crosses, which comes from another type of occultism.
What type of occultism do the upside down crosses
That's black witchcraft.
Is it Wicca, Satanism, or both?
Both.
Okay. And did you notice anything in particular about the book?
There's a chapter in here called Rise of the Devil, and it is underlined in red, and there's a couple sentences in there reference to blood and its life force.
How were you accepted into enrollment at Columbia Pacific University?
I had to fill out a considerable series of papers, including all my education, background, experience.
Did you ever fill out a little flyer like this?
No, sir.
That says, call toll-free for information on how to become a doctor? This is a mail-order college, isn't it? What classes did you take between 1980 and 1982 to obtain your master's degree? What classes?
I testified.
I'm asking,
Yeah.
what classes? What classes did you take?
I told you, I answered that before, none.
You did not take any classes. Between 1982 and 1984, when you became a PhD, what classes did you take?
None.
None. Okay. Is it your opinion, and do you want to tell this jury that these crimes were motivated by occult beliefs?
Yes.
The state is now trying to prove motive in this case, calling this a cult-related killing. Whether that will be enough to sway the 8 women and 4 men sitting on this jury remains to be seen.
Damien, are you worried about Jessie testifying against you?
He's been previously sworn.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Please state your name for the court.
Damien Wayne Echols.
Why did you change your name?
I was very involved in the Catholic Church, and we were going over different names of the saints. St. Michael's was where I went to church at. And we heard about this guy from the Hawaiian Islands, Father Damien, that took care of lepers until he finally caught the disease himself and died.
Right, was that the reason you chose Damien as your first name?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did the choosing of the name Damien have anything to do with any type of horror movies, Satanism, cultism, any of that nature?
Nothing whatsoever.
Okay. All right, after the time period that you were really into the Catholic religion, did you start focusing in another particular religion?
Wicca.
Wicca, all right. Could you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what some principles about the Wicca religion?
It acknowledges a goddess in a higher regard as a god, because people have always said we are all God's children and men cannot have children. It's basically like a close involvement with nature.
Is there a difference between the Wicca religion and witchcraft?
Wicca is also called witchcraft. The word Wicca was bastardized. It originally meant wise one.
Did the fact that you like to wear black all the time, were you different in other ways as well?
Yes, I've never had a lot of the same interests that other people have, like sports, things like that. I've never been into anything like that.
And did it help you deal with other people, to have people kind of standoffish and sort of back away from you?
Yeah, it was like a defense mechanism. It would make people think like, well, he's weird, I'm not going to go around him, so it kept people away.
The state had introduced the book Never on a Broomstick. Are you familiar with that particular book?
Yes, I am.
All right. Where did you get that book, Damien?
At the library in Crittenden County. All the books that they were getting tired of or had for a long time, I guess, they all had them sitting on a rack out front that they were selling for 10 cents each, so I got it.
All right. Did you underline any of those portions in the book?
No, that was done when I got it. I think it was because somebody had a report to do or something, because all during the book there's like little notes, certain dates and stuff, like from the 1600s in the outside margin.
So was that book kind of like a history of witchcraft and how
Yes.
it's developed over the ages?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the contents of that notebook?
Yes, I am.
I noticed on the inside of the front cover there appears to be a couple of quotes there. Could
Yes.
you read each of those to the jury and then tell them where that came from?
Life is but a walking shadow. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. That's from A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. Pure black, looking clear, my work is soon done here. Try getting back from me that which used to be. That is off a Metallica tape called Injustice for All. It talks about how warped the court systems are, and stuff like that.
On May the 5th, did you kill Michael Moore?
No, I did not.
On May the 5th, did you kill Stevie Branch?
No, I did not.
On May the 5th, did you kill Chris Byers?
No, I did not.
Have you ever participated in any type of human sacrifice?
No, I have not.
19-year-old Damien Echols admits he stands out in a crowd. He says he loves heavy metal music, likes, short way to put it, practices the Wicca religion. 3, 2, 1. 19-year-old Damien Echols says he's 3, 2, 1. 19-year-old Damien Echols admits he stands out in a crowd. He says he likes to wear black most of the time, practices the Wicca religion, and loves heavy metal music, but he says he's definitely not a killer.
The area had a rumored history of devil worshiping and that type of thing. That was something that people were seeing around the country at this time. In Damien's case, it was the kids that came in and said that they saw him eating the hind quarter of a dog. But the rumors were rampant. The police department asked me to come up with a list of people that we had dealings with in the juvenile department that might have had something to do with this.
What you found 3 boys that had been hogtied and thrown in the water. It appeared that they had been sexually mutilated. that appears to be cult-related. The West Memphis Police Department, they a lot of times would ask me about occult things as though I were the guru. I probably was, because there wasn't anybody else that was doing it. I got some books, and I spoke to police organizations around the country that had had some experience with it. The police department called me and asked me to put together a list of people that we had on probation that might be involved in that type of activity. Well, the guy that I knew that was involved the most in it was Damien Echols. The two guys he ran with, Jessie and Jason. Jessie would fight. Jason was not very aggressive in that respect, but I believe he would do anything that Damien asked him to do.
People probably think that I'm in Satanism because usually what people don't understand, they try to destroy or ridicule it, try to make it look bad or wrong. West Memphis is pretty much like second Salem right now, because everything that happens there, every crime, no matter what it is, it's blamed on Satanism.
Christopher's room right there, where you can see the set of 3 windows. This house and the Moore's house, I would say the majority of the past 17 years, they appear to have been empty. You could have people that are going to go, oh, the house is cursed, or that's where the little boy lived that the devil worshipers killed. The people that brought into the propaganda that the West Memphis Police Department and the media put forth, devil worshipers, because of some of the graffiti around, they got on that bandwagon and everybody jumped on board, and it was hysteria. People wouldn't let their children out.
You jumped on that bandwagon, too.
Oh, I led the bandwagon.
To me, this place as I stand is like hell on earth, because I know that 3 babies were killed right out here where I stand. I know my son was castrated and possibly laid there on that bank and bled to death. I know he was choked. I know one boy's head was beat in beyond recognition. I know one little boy was skinned almost like an animal, cut, had to shave his head, had all types of injuries to the head where they just kept beating and pounding on him and killing him and killing him. It's like they enjoyed it. They killed him 2 or 3 times. Jessie Misskelley Jr, Jason Baldwin, Damien Echols. I hope your master, the devil, does take you soon. I want you to meet him real soon. And the day you die, I'm going to praise God. And I make you a promise. The day you die, every year on May 5th, I'm going to come to your graveside. I'm going to spit on you. I'm going to curse the day you were born. And I'm sure while I'm standing there, I'm going to have other bodily functions let go upon your grave. I promise you, as God is my witness, I'll visit all 3 of your graves.
You're familiar with a fellow named Aleister Crowley?
I know
Heard
who
of
he
him?
is. I know who he is.
And he's a guy who kindly professes, he's a noted author in the field of satanic worship, right?
I know he is, but I've never saw any of his books personally.
Okay. Not really much of a follower of his?
I would have read them if I would have saw them, but I just never.
Okay. But Aleister Crowley is a guy that, based on his writings, believes in human sacrifice, doesn't he?
He also believed he was God, though. So.
Okay. And he also had writings that indicated that children were the best type of human sacrifice, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But Aleister Crowley doesn't have any particular significance to you?
I know who he is. I've read a little bit about him, but I've never read anything by him.
Let me show you a copy of some documents. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay. What is that?
It was this paper I had on different alphabets for like translations where you could write things that nobody could read, and this was one of the forms.
Oh, okay. Well, where did you have that at? When did you do that, write those things out?
Sometime before I was arrested, I guess.
Okay. Are you sure that you hadn't done those since you were arrested while you've been staying in jail?
I don't know, I might have.
Well, whose names are written on that document?
Mine, Jason's, my son's, one that says Aleister Crowley, and...
Wait, who?
Aleister Crowley.
Now, this is a document that you've written while you've been waiting in jail for trial, right?
If you say so.
Well, you wrote it, correct? That's your writing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You recall when you wrote it?
Not really.
Well, what I'm going to ask you is that this Damien Seth Azariah Echols, your son, he wasn't born until after you were placed in jail, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if you've got his name listed on this document, then this document had to be generated after he was born, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is something you've written since you've been sitting in here in jail waiting for trial.
Yes.
And what you were doing was writing out various names in different type alphabets, correct?
From the way it looks here, I was practicing, trying to memorize them.
Okay. And one of the names that you picked out to write about was this fellow named Aleister Crowley, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that just a total coincidence? You just pulled his name out of the air?
No, it's just the same book that I had with the different alphabets in it. It also had stuff about him in it.
Well, did you have the book out there at the time you were doing this?
This was just from what I remembered myself, where I was practicing, trying to memorize, get it all in my head perfect.
So you were going over it, working on it in your head, and at that point in time, you write all this down from memory?
Mm-hmm.
The people that are listed on here, you've got your name on here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jason Baldwin, which is your best friend, right? And then you've got Damien Seth Azariah Echols. That's your son?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then the only other name on this document, besides yourself, your best friend, and your son, is Aleister Crowley, correct?
Yes, sir.
I like Metallica because, well, all hard music like that, because it, like, gives me an adrenaline rush. It makes me feel more alive.
Now, during the course of talking to Mr. Echols, did you ask him who did he think did it and why?
In one area, he says he had an opinion for who could have done the murders as being someone sick and that it was some type of thrill kill. He also stated that the penis was a symbol of power in his religion, known as Wicca. He also stated that the number 3 has a sacred number in the belief.
And did he tell you anything about demonic forces?
Yes, sir. He said that all people have a demonic force in them and that a person would have no control over that demonic force.
Mr. Echols was not the only person that told you that the kids probably died of mutilation, was he?
No, sir.
And when Mr. Echols, you asked him something to the effect of what type of books did he enjoy reading?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and he told you, I think, was it Anton Levy and Stephen King?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in your opinion, is there anything unusual about those being the type of books that Mr. Echols likes to read?
Anton LaVey is a book of satanic rules and involvement. Stephen King seems to be horror movies, horror books. And if you're asking if I felt that was strange, yes, sir, I did.
All right.
Now, let me refer you back to your statement that you gave Officer Ridge. Did you tell him in that statement that you had been a member of a white witch group for 5 years?
No.
Okay.
I've never been a member of any group.
And so if he put that in his report, you're saying that's inaccurate?
Yes, I am.
He made that up?
Yes, I am.
On question number 9, how do you think the person feels that did this? The answer was probably makes them feel good, gives them power. Now, I guess Officer Ridge said that too.
No, I use common sense on that.
Okay.
If someone was doing it, then they must have wanted to. And if they were doing something they wanted to, it must have made them happy. I don't think they were doing it because someone forced them to or because they didn't want to.
So in your mind, the person that killed these 3 kids, it's common sense that killing 3 8-year-olds would make you feel good?
Whoever did it, it must have.
Did you also tell him that each person had a demonic side to them?
I believe every person has a good side and a bad side, yes.
Well, were those your words when you referred, when he's got written down here, he stated that there was no control of the demonic portion of people?
He asked me, did I think there were some people that could not control that side? I said, yes, I guess there is.
It also states that Damien stated that the younger the victim would be more innocent, and in turn more power would be given the person doing the killing.
Right.
Okay. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay, those are your words.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you pick that up when you were studying to be a Catholic?
No. I saw that on several movies, books.
Question number 11, when he asked you, how do you think they died? And its answer is mutilation, cut up all 3, heard they were in the water drowning, cut up one more than the others. Is that, again, what Officer Ridge said and you just agreed?
No, I had saw that on TV, newspapers, people talking.
And you knew it about the drowning, correct?
I knew they were in the water. I didn't know that they drowned.
And you knew that one was cut up more than the others?
He asked me, was it possible? He said, do you think one was hurt worse than the others? I said, yeah, I guess.
So again, that particular area is one of those things where Officer Ridge told you, and that wasn't your response. You just responded about the drowning and mutilation.
If he didn't get the answer he liked, he would go back and try to get me to say something else.
And it's your testimony specifically that you aren't the one who said one was cut up more than the other,
No,
that
I
it was
didn't.
Officer Ridge who said that?
I agreed with him when he said that.
Okay. And if he says something different, he'd be lying about it, right? You're the one telling the truth.
I wouldn't put it past him.
The Thursday's newspaper, which addressed you testifying on Wednesday, was real good. It talked about that you did well. But Friday's, regarding your Thursday testimony, wasn't as good. What do you think?
I think I did real good the first day. The second day, it didn't look as good because Davis kept trying to trip me up or something.
There was one point in there, though, where he asked you, he says, it looks like you're just changing your story to fit whatever comes up. And you said, yeah.
I was just like halfway listening to him. After I was real nervous when I first got up there, enough to keep my attention focused and everything. But after I was up there a few minutes, just started daydreaming.
Daydream. Maybe they'll only halfway kill you when they convict you.
Halfway?
Yeah.
How they do that?
I don't know. Maybe they'll start daydreaming and forget what they're doing.
Anything wrong with wearing black in and of itself? No. Anything wrong with the heavy metal stuff in and of itself? No. The Book of Shadows, anything wrong with that in and of itself? No. But when you look at it together and you begin to see inside Damien Echols, you see inside that person, and you look inside there and there's not a soul in there.
My client is a teenager, and we certainly didn't hide that fact from you. And the fact that my client did some writings, take these back. Go back and read them. Go read all these. But this in and of itself is no evidence of murder, and even if you add in all the other things, quote, trappings of occultism, according to Dr. Griffiths, that has nothing to do with this case whatsoever.
You look at history. Look at hundreds of years of religious history. There have been hundreds of people killed in the name of religion. It is a motivating force. It gives people who want to do evil, want to commit murders, a reason to do what they're doing. Satanic panic. Yeah, that's a scary thing. But it's a scarier thing to convict someone with no evidence. If you can't figure it out, if it doesn't make sense, let's call it a cult killing and find somebody weird. Find somebody who wears black.